I awaken to darkness. In the bowels of our hidden sanctuary beneath the city, dawn's light is a rumor at best, a pale glow seeping through cracks in the boarded windows high above. The air is damp and cold on the stone floor where I've been sleeping, curled in my cloak. I do not mind the chill. It reminds me that I am alive, that Bhaal has granted me another day to do his work. My first breath of the morning is a silent prayer to the Lord of Murder, a gratitude for the carnage of yesterday, and an oath to spill fresh blood before this new day dies. Last night's memories flicker in my mind as I rise. I see again the terror on a dying man's face by the light of the moon, how his eyes widened when I whispered, "Bhaal sends his regards," and the way my heart swelled with grim satisfaction. Murder is a sacred duty to us, yes, but it is also our pleasure. We enjoy this, as much as any privileged noble enjoys a fine meal. Each time I end a life, I know I am strengthening my dark master. That knowledge is as comforting as a lullaby to me, lulling any remnants of guilt back into the abyss. I sit up on my straw pallet and reach under it, fingers closing around the hilt of my dagger, my constant companion. By touch, I find the dried blood still encrusting its edge from the previous night's offering. Gently, almost reverently, I take a rag and wipe the blade clean. The flakes of blood I smear across my own forearm in ritual fashion, an anointment to begin the day. The scent of it, coppery, metallic, mixes with the musty odor of mold in our underground hideout. To me, it is the incense of devotion. Murder is both duty and game, our primistress often reminds us. Every kill a gift to him. I murmur these words as I buckle on my simple armor, piece by piece. My garb by day is inconspicuous, a tunic of dark leather, supple and silent, and a hooded cloak stained in hues of black and dried brownish crimson. Around my neck hangs a crude necklace I strung myself, a collection of finger bones taken from various victims. Each bleached phalange is a token of a kill, clicking softly as I move. They serve as both trophy and talisman, an outward sign of my reverence for the Lord of Murder. To wear the very remnants of those I've slain is to carry their terror with me always. I cinch a red sash about my waist, a strip of cloth dyed in blood, marking me as one of the faithful priests of Bhaal. In a shard of broken mirror, I glimpse a pair of eyes, my eyes staring back. They are calm, almost dull, with the flat focus of a predator. In them, I see the fanatic's zeal and utter absence of doubt. I see what Bhaal has made of me, a Bhaalist, a willing murderer, a servant to death. Outside, the city of Baldur's Gate comes to life in the morning, oblivious to the horrors that fester beneath its streets. I ascend quietly from our subterranean lair through a concealed hatch in a derelict warehouse. In the sullen gray half-light, I slip into the bustle of the waking city, just another cloaked figure hurrying along the cobbled streets. The smell of yesterday's refuse and fish guts from the harbor nearly masks the lingering scent of blood on my clothes. Nearly. I keep my head down, a silent shadow moving among bakers, dock workers, and beggars who start their day. They do not know me for what I am. They cannot imagine that a killer walks among them. At a narrow alley's mouth, I pause and watch a pair of city watchmen trudge past, yawning, on their morning patrol. The flaming fist mercenaries are sworn to keep order here, but these days they are harried by an invisible foe. Rumors of murders in the night, unexplained and gruesome, are on every tongue. The common folk speak in hushed tones of a terror in the shadows, of loved ones who vanish or are found slaughtered come dawn. Fear grips the city like a fever. I can see it in the eyes of a fishmonger sweeping his stoop, The way he jumps at a sudden noise, the way he glances at every stranger's face. This pleases me. We have done this. We, the Bhaalists, have made them afraid, and fear is almost as nourishing to our god as blood. I continue through Heapside, stepping around a dark stain on the paving stones. Here, a body was found at first light. The flaming fist has since carried off the corpse, but a mark remains on the splintered door of the victim's hovel. Someone, one of my brothers, likely, has painted a symbol in dripping red pigment. It is a crude rendition of Bhaal's skull, surrounded by a ring of crimson teardrops. The paint is fresh enough to still gleam. A passing washerwoman makes a superstitious sign with her hand and hurries by at the sight of that door, whispering a prayer to Tyr or Lathander for protection. I chuckle under my breath. Fools. Neither the god of justice nor the god of dawn will save them. The sign on that door means the Lord of Murder has visited, and it usually marks a recent victim. It means we can come and go as we please, striking whomever we wish, whenever we wish. It means no one is beyond our reach. As midday approaches, I slip into the shadowed alcove behind an old shrine, an irony not lost on me. I have an appointment of sorts. A minor lord, Milord Kalen, he styles himself, arrives soon after, his fine cloak quivering with haste. His face is gaunt, sleepless nights etched beneath his eyes. This man paid us a hefty sum last week after his business rival died under our knives. Now he lives in dread that the debt has made him a loose end. He presses a purse of gold into my hands, the coins clinking with nervous energy. I pull my lips into a thin smile beneath my hood and nod once. Gold proffered to the church can indeed make the Lord of Murder overlook one for today. I won't even need to soil my blade to reap this reward. His fear is payment enough. Bhaal watches, and he is pleased with your tribute, I intone softly. The man will live, for now. Clutching at hope, the fool scampers away as if chased by devils. There is no guarantee implied beyond tonight, but terror has loosened his purse strings nicely. I weigh the pouch in my gloved hand. The weight of it will help fund our sacred work, weapons, bribes, alchemical poisons. That wealth, in turn, fuels more murders in an endless, bloody cycle. Such is the will of Bhaal. With daylight starting to wane, I make my way back toward our hidden temple. On the way, I pass a small market square where townsfolk chatter about the latest string of killings. I catch snippets of their fearful gossip. Another body found by the docks, flayed, they say, and left hanging. And I feel a swell of dark pride. That one was done by Sister Eris, if I recall her report correctly, an elegantly sadistic kill to send a message. We Bhaalists often choose victims who will be missed and whose deaths will horrify onlookers, thereby sowing greater panic. A well-placed murder can spin a whole city into chaos, and in chaos we thrive. Listening to the frightened murmurs, I dip my head as if sorrowful, masking the satisfaction curling my lips. If only these fearful citizens knew that one of the very killers they dread walks in their midst this afternoon, passing by them like a ghost. By the time the sun sinks toward the horizon, I have returned to our safe house, a secret underground temple where the faithful gather nightly. The entrance is concealed in the rotting storeroom of an old tenement. A hatch in the floor opens to a winding stair into darkness. I descend into the depths, lantern shuttered, guided by memory and the faint red glow of braziers below. With each step down, the noises of the city above fade, replaced by an eerie stillness and distant dripping of water on stone. The familiar scent of old blood, smoke, and decay rises to greet me. Home. The underground temple of Bhaal lies hidden beneath the city, its entrance marked by a grim skull insignia and draped in blood-red banners. The chamber I emerge into is vast and dimly lit. This was once catacombs, perhaps, but we have claimed it in Bhaal's name. The Temple of Bhaal is a sepulchral hall of black stone, the ceiling arching 30 feet overhead into darkness. From those heights hang iron cages, some occupied by the withered remains of those who crossed our cult, traitors and captured meddlers left to starve. Their bones rattle softly in the draft. The stone walls are splattered with dark red stains, layers upon layers of blood from countless past rites. In places, the gore has been used as paint to create disturbing murals. Bone mosaics arranged in the shape of screaming faces and scenes of murder adorn the walls. I run my fingers over a section of carved relief as I pass by. It depicts a cloaked killer, a representation of our god, perhaps standing over a pile of corpses. The carved eyes seem almost alive in the flickering brazier light. At the far end of the hall stands our altar, the sacred heart of this place. It is a great slab of dark stone veined with rust red. Old metal shackles are bolted to its surface, ready to secure sacrificial victims when needed. Dried blood has seeped into the very grain of the altar, giving it a permanent ruddy hue. Behind it looms a massive symbol of Bhaal, a round iron sigil mounted on the wall, emblazoned with the grinning skull surrounded by droplets of blood. Two ragged banners, the color of clotted gore, hang to either side of the symbol, like flayed skins flanking a tomb. This gruesome decor might turn the stomach of an outsider, but to me it is beautiful. It is sacred. Within these blood-streaked walls, I feel the presence of my God keenly. The very air vibrates with malice and divine hunger. We gather here as night falls. A dozen of us tonight, the core members of this particular cult cell, assemble around a crude wooden table off to the side of the main chamber. The light of several tallow candles made from rendered fat of victims, naturally, throws our shadows long and spidery across the floor. Hoods are drawn up, pale eyes gleam from within the depths of cowls. We do not hide our faces from one another, but habit and ritual keep us cloaked. At this table, we are family in a twisted way, bound by blood and purpose. We call each other brother and sister, though kindness or affection have no place here. Our bond is one of shared cruelty and shared reverence for Bhaal's will. I take my seat among them, inclining my head respectfully to the figure at the table's head, the one we call the primate. The primate of our sect is an older woman, Sister Nerissa, though you'd hardly guess her age by looking. Her face is forever masked by a veil of gray silk and a cowl, but her voice is strong. In the hierarchy of Bhaal's church, she is the primistress of this temple, answerable only to higher powers far away. Under her are a few elite assassins known as Cowled Deaths who help organize our activities, and beneath them, the rest of us, common killers, the rank-and-file murderers called death dealers. That is what I am, a slayer, a tool in Bhaal's bloody hand. I and my peers are sometimes called the slaying hands of Bhaal. I feel no shame in this lowly title. We are the sharp edge of his will. We are the ones who actually bring death to the streets, after all. The primate begins the even feast, as we call our communal supper. It is a simple meal, a thin stew of vegetables and possibly some charred mystery meat. One learns not to inquire too closely about the source of the meat. As we eat, the room fills with the low murmur of voices. We do not practice normal small talk. Instead, our conversations revolve around the only thing that truly thrills us: murder. One of the Cowled Deaths, a gaunt man with filed-down teeth, describes his kill from last night in morbid detail to an appreciative audience. I let the husband watch from the closet as I carved the wife's final smile, he says with a chuckle. Such beautiful screams. A few of the others laugh softly or nod in admiration. On this topic, there is camaraderie. Each of us takes pride in especially inventive kills, and we praise particularly unique or interesting murders at gatherings like this. Another cultist boasts of a target eliminated with a single poisoned pinprick, so subtle that her family thought her simply fallen asleep, until they noticed the blood from her ears. This draws murmurs of respect for the skill involved. We also pause to acknowledge those of us who have fallen in service to Bhaal. A cup of dark wine is poured out onto the floor for a brother who died last Tenday, caught and executed by vigilant gods. He will be remembered, the primate intones, and we all bow our heads. Dying while furthering the cause is an honor, and we speak their names during these feasts to ensure they are not forgotten. Our meal is laced with a palpable sense of anticipation. We talk of upcoming targets, who has been marked for death and why. Through whispered words I learn that tonight my blade is needed again. The primate fixes me with her unseen gaze and explains my task in a few curt sentences. A certain city official has been sniffing too close to our affairs, showing too much curiosity about the rash of killings. He is to die this night, both as a message and to eliminate a potential threat. I incline my head deeply, accepting the assignment without question. It will be done, I say simply. Inside, my heart quickens at the thought of another kill so soon. Not only will I serve his will by removing an impediment, but this will count toward my continual tally of murders. We have an unspoken competition among us. Those with the highest body counts or most prestigious kills earn status, and perhaps the dread favor of Bhaal himself. There is even a monthly ritual reward, a gruesome rite called Bhaal's Rest, granted to the cultist who achieved the greatest kill that month. I glance over at the steel sarcophagus standing upright in a niche along the west wall. It's an imposing coffin forged of blackened metal, shaped with a leering skull on its lid. That is Bhaal's Rest, both an object and a ceremony. Each month, we fill that sarcophagus with the fresh blood of victims, and the winner of our little contest bathes in it for a night. A grotesque prize, perhaps, but to us it is a mark of tremendous favor. Bhaal himself was said to enjoy sleeping in just such a coffin, drenched in gore. My mouth goes dry with longing at the thought of being sealed in that sanguine embrace. I must earn it. Sister Eris currently leads with her count of kills, but after tonight, I suspect I may catch up. Ambition coils in my gut alongside hunger. When the bowls are empty and the last drop of wine has been drained, we push back from the table to perform our nightly devotions. It is time for the day's farewell. This ritual marks the end of the mundane day and the commencement of holy work to be done under cover of darkness. We gather before the altar, all 12 of us forming a semicircle. A large clay basin is produced by an acolyte and set at the altar's base. Inside sloshes a crimson liquid, blood mixed with water. Any blood will do for this. Tonight, I suspect it's pig's blood acquired from a butcher, given the volume. Our personal contributions come later. At a nod from the primate, each of us steps forward in turn to dip our hands into the basin. I plunge my hands in without hesitation. The blood is pleasantly warm, coating my skin in sticky redness. Thick rivulets run down my forearms as I withdraw my hands and lift them up before my face. The coppery scent floods my senses. Around me, my brothers and sisters do the same, raising dripping hands in a macabre salute. We give thanks to Bhaal as we wash our hands in blood. In unison, we begin to chant in low voices. We thank thee, Lord of Murder, for the deaths dealt this day. We praise thee for the fear and chaos sown. Guide our hands tonight that we might honor you again. I close my eyes and let the words vibrate through me. I think of the kills I have done, visualizing each moment of death as an offering placed at Bhaal's feet. My heart rate slows, an uncanny peace settles over me. This ritual always fills me with a heavy, solemn purpose. In this moment, soaked in blood, I feel close to my God. As we intone the final words of the prayer, I whisper an extra personal vow. Bhaal, use me. Let me be the instrument of your will tonight and always. The blood on my hands has begun to cool and coagulate slightly by the time the day's farewell concludes. But I do not wipe it off just yet. We often let it dry like a crusted glove until we set out, a symbolic armor of sanctity. With the ritual done, a few of us exchange brief, eager looks. Night has fallen fully now. It is time to hunt. This is what we live for, the moment when we slip out into the darkness and deliver death unto the unwitting. I can almost feel Bhaal's black eyes upon us, watching with cruel glee. Night in Baldur's Gate brings a new character to the city. Fog creeps in off the river Cheonthar, curling through the narrow alleys like a living thing. The lanterns of the watch cast feeble halos in the mist, and every corner beyond their light belongs to the darkness, our darkness. Cloaked in black and purple, I melt into those shadows. This part of the city, Lower City, near the docks, is a warren of cramped streets and leaning buildings that crowd out the sky. My target is one Marshal Gravish, a low-ranking officer of the Flaming Fist, tasked with investigating the recent murders. He has been dutifully assembling clues, interviewing witnesses, sniffing around where we don't want him. Now his diligence has earned him a place on Bhaal's altar. I know his routine. We've been observing him for days. Around this hour, he'll be walking home from the barracks, alone, taking a shortcut through an ill-lit side street to reach his tenement. A careless habit, and tonight it will cost him everything. I perch silently on a rooftop ledge, overlooking that very side street. Below, the lane is barely more than a gutter between buildings, strewn with trash and illuminated only by moonlight. My heart beats steadily, slowly, the calm before the storm. In these moments of waiting, I feel acutely alive. Every sense is sharpened. I hear a distant dog barking, the lapping of canal water against pilings, the muffled laughter of drunkards behind tavern walls. The city's nightlife, blissfully ignorant of the predator watching from above. At last, I see a lone figure rounding the far corner, walking with brisk purpose. It's him. Even from a distance, I recognize Gravish by his posture and the faint gleam of his badge catching the moonlight. He is clad in a half-armor, helmet under one arm, clearly weary from his shift. He likely suspects nothing at this very instant, but in a few heartbeats he will feel the dread. I slink along the roof, tracking him from above, quiet as a cat. When he reaches a point below me, a particularly dark stretch between two collapsed lampposts, I strike. Dropping down from the rooftop, I land in a soft crouch just a few yards behind the marshal. The scuff of my boots finally alerts him. "Who goes?" he manages to say, half turning, hand moving toward the sword at his belt. But I am already upon him. I pounce like a shadow with teeth, one hand clamping over his mouth to cut off any cry. My other hand drives the dagger up under his ribcage with vicious force. The blade slides in with ease. I know precisely where to aim, having studied anatomy for just this purpose. Gravish stiffens and jerks in my grip, a muffled scream lost against my blood-soaked palm. I savor the moment. The sudden surge of hot blood that pours over my fist, the wild panic in the man's eyes. This is the bliss that only those of us in Bhaal's embrace understand. My face is inches from his as I whisper, almost gently, "The Lord of Murder sends his regards." His eyes widen in recognition and horror. "Yes, know who ends you, fool." His struggles weaken as the life flows out of him around my embedded dagger. I am left holding up a limp body that slides off my knife and onto the cobbles with a dull thud. For a moment I stand over the corpse, breathing heavily in the quiet night. The deed is done. A profound satisfaction washes over me, as warm and soothing as the blood cooling on my hands. This is what I was born to do. Each murder I commit in the darkest hour of night fulfills both my duty to Bhaal and my own craving. In the silence that follows, I feel an almost electric thrill course through my veins. It is as if the Lord of Murder himself is aware, watching through the veil of night, pleased at the blood spilled in his name. I crouch and begin the practiced work of collecting a token from the victim. Part of our ritual is to take a trophy from each kill, a personal offering to lay at Bhaal's altar. Marshal Gravish has a silver ring on his finger set with a small onyx. I slide it off and pocket it, but that is not personal enough. Instead, I draw a smaller knife and, with clinical precision, sever the man's left ear. This will do nicely as a tribute. I tuck it away in a pouch at my belt, handling it with care like a sacred relic. I also take the opportunity to rifle through the corpse's pockets. He carries a coin purse, a modest sum of gold. That joins the ear in my pouch. Bhaal encourages us to take such spoils. Wealth gained through murder ultimately serves our god's ends. Perhaps these very coins will pay for more poison or bribe an informant, fueling yet another kill. There is also a folded parchment, notes from his investigation. I chuckle softly and let the blood-sodden note fall. It is of no use now. Before I depart, I make sure to leave a calling card so that others will know whose handiwork this is. Kneeling, I dip 2 fingers into the pool of blood spreading from the body. With a swift, practiced motion, I smear a crimson skull symbol on the alley wall, a crude painting of a skull with dripping tears of blood around it. The mark of Bhaal. It glistens wetly in the pale light. Anyone who finds this scene at dawn will instantly know which power was at work here. Let the fools tremble and whisper our dreadlord's name. With that final signature, I melt back into the darkness, leaving the dead marshal cooling in his own lifeblood. By the time I return to our temple, midnight has come and gone. The city above is quieting into the deepest hours of night, but in our halls, the energy is feverish and exalted. Others are returning as well. 2 of my brethren arrive just before me, dragging a burlap sack that drips blood. One of them caught a late target, by the look of it. No words are needed. The gleam in our eyes speaks volumes. We have done holy work tonight. Inside the temple, the braziers burn low, casting our congregants in flickering red shadow. A few cultists who were not assigned missions linger about, ready to assist or bear witness. The primate stands by the altar, awaiting our return. She likes to oversee the immediate consecration of our kills whenever possible. I approach her and kneel, bowing my head. "It is done, Primistress," I report simply, holding up the severed ear cupped in my blood-caked hands. She lets out a pleased hum. "Bhaal be praised," she murmurs, and bids me rise to present the offering. I step up to the stone altar. The feel of that altar under my hands, so cold, so solid, sends a final shiver of reverence through me. Upon its surface, other trophies already lie. A human finger, a pair of eyeballs staring sightlessly, a blood-soaked braid of hair. I add my trophy to this grisly collection, placing the ear among the rest. It sits there, small and fleshly, the sliced edge still oozing a little onto the altar stone. Now comes my part of the offering. Taking a ritual dagger, I draw it swiftly across my left palm. The blade bites, and my own blood wells up. With a clenched fist, I let the blood from my hand drip onto the ear and the altar, anointing the trophy with my life's essence. This symbolizes the personal cost and commitment of the kill. We give of ourselves as we give death to others. Eyes closed, I begin the prayer of offering in a low voice. Accept this kill, O Bhaal, bloodkeeper and life-taker. As her life fed your glory, let this token and my blood feed your strength. In death, your power is known. In fear, your name is spoken. Praise Bhaal, Lord of Murder. Others nearby murmur. Praise Bhaal in response. I feel a wave of euphoria as I complete the rite. In that moment, I could swear the blood on the altar sizzles ever so slightly, as if drunk in by the stone itself. Perhaps it is my imagination, or perhaps a sign that Bhaal accepts our offerings. Either way, I feel his approval deep in my bones. A moment of stillness follows, broken only by the crackle of a torch. I find that my hands are trembling, not with fear or fatigue, but with exhilaration. A soft voice at my shoulder, the primate. "Well done," she says, and I hear genuine respect in her tone. I turn to see her inclining her head to me. Bhaal smiles on nights such as these. I bow my head in return. High praise coming from her. In our world, success is measured in bodies, and tonight I have contributed greatly. I allow myself a small smile of pride beneath my hood. Nearby, the other returning cultists likewise present their trophies and whisper their prayers. The altar is becoming quite crowded with ghastly tokens. Soon, the acolytes will dispose of these remains, burning some, preserving others for crafting or ritual use. In fact, the ear I offered might later be stitched into a new mosaic or boiled down for grisly candles. The formalities done, our numbers gradually disperse to rest. The primate and her seconds remain in hushed conversation, likely plotting tomorrow's deeds or reviewing information gleaned from tonight's kills. I have done my part for now. A heavy fatigue creeps over me, the kind that is laced with contentment. It is the exhaustion of a predator who has fed well. My limbs ache from exertion and tension now releasing, and the cut on my palm throbs. Yet I am loath to bandage it too quickly. I let the blood leave a trail behind me as I walk away from the altar. Each droplet a silent Ave Bhaal. In a side chamber of the temple, I strip off my soiled outer garments. The leather armor is sticky with the marshal's blood. I wipe down the dagger, carefully cleaning the black ichor and crimson from its wavy blade. Tools, too, deserve acknowledgement, at least in our philosophy, where a well-honed dagger is as sacred as a holy symbol. After all, the dagger is Bhaal's favored weapon, the extension of our will. I take a moment to inventory my gains. The coins from Gravish's purse now sit in our common coffer, adding to the cult's funds. We share everything. It strengthens the network. In turn, I will be resupplied with whatever I need for my next mission. Be it poison, new knives, or simply a hearty meal tomorrow. There is an efficiency to our dark brotherhood that I find strangely satisfying. Finally, I allow myself to rest. In a corner of the temple's dormitory area, a row of simple straw cots and bedrolls behind a heavy curtain, I sink down onto a cot. My body feels heavy, but my mind is aflame with the night's images. Sleep will not come immediately, I know. It rarely does after a kill. The adrenaline echoes for hours. Instead, I lie back and replay each moment in my head. A pleasurable recollection, each twitch of the victim, each gasp, the look in his eyes. I burn it into my memory like a cherished bedtime story. This is my version of counting sheep. Somewhere in the darkness, water drips steadily, plink, 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 from the ceiling into a puddle. The sound is oddly soothing. From farther away, perhaps in another chamber, I hear screams. Ah yes, one of my brothers must be entertaining himself with a captive or playing with the remains. The screams are faint, more like whimpers by the time they reach my ears. To me, they are lullabies. As I stare up at the unseen ceiling, I think about what tomorrow holds. Likely more of the same. By day I'll lurk and plan, by night I'll kill again. In a 10-day I will have to kill at least once more to meet the tenets of my faith, though I've already exceeded that quota many times over. There's always more work to be done. Bhaal's hunger is never sated. Perhaps I will target one of the city's priests of Ilmater next, those pious fools who comfort the bereaved. Or maybe an opportunistic kill if some unlucky drunk stumbles into a lonely alley. Any murder pleases him, after all. We are charged to commit murder as often as possible, ideally every day, if we can manage it. Our God does not permit complacency. In the corner of the dormitory stands a makeshift shrine, a human skull sitting atop a crate with a few guttering candles around it. I let my eyes rest on that macabre icon. The shadows from the candles make the skull appear to grin wider, as if Bhaal himself were smiling. A heavy sense of fulfillment settles over me. Tonight, I have earned that smile. As my eyelids grow heavy at last, I whisper one final prayer into the darkness. May all folk learn to fear you, O Bhaal, as I have learned to love you. It is a twisted sentiment, perhaps, but it warms what remains of my heart. Above me, the city sleeps fitfully, unaware that its peace hangs by the thinnest thread, the whim of murder. If they only knew how average this day of carnage truly was for us. For me, this is normalcy, waking in blood, walking in disguise among the living, dining with monsters, and dealing out death by night. I close my eyes. In my mind's eye, I see the streets running red and hear the echoes of panicked prayers from distant lips. A contented sigh escapes me. In a few hours, dawn will seep into the world again, and I will rise to repeat the cycle. Such is the existence I have embraced. Such is the life of a devotee of the Lord of Murder. Grim and dark as it is mine. Cradled by darkness and the muffled cries echoing through our temple halls, I drift into a light sleep. My dreams, if Bhaal wills it, will be painted in scarlet. And tomorrow, tomorrow, will be another perfect average day for a cultist of Bhaal. Praise be to the Lord of Murder. Let all who live learn to fear his name, lest they become the next offering on his altar.